Hi, I'm Emily.
And I'm Stephen.
And this is In A Barbie World,
The podcast where we look at every Barbie movie from 1987 to the present day.
from fairy tales to literary classics.
From Mariposa to Mermaidia.
It's time to get unboxed,
Readjust your lippy
rock the ball gown.
and let's get our Barbie on.
Barbie Fairytopia, Mermaidia.
We're
I
into colons now then.
So many
So now-
colons.
Well, yeah, that's a phrase we don't want to hear if you're a proctologist. But that's a bad joke. Sorry, everybody. Let's go back to Barbie.
Whose idea was it to watch all the Barbie movies? Because they were a fucking genius. Because these movies are so fucking good.
I got a feeling it was your idea. That's a bit of a
idea.
self-serving compliment. But yeah, we're further in now than I thought we were going to be. I thought it was going to tail off by now.
I thought by now I was going to be like, whose idea was this? But I'm like, whose idea was this?
It's remain. You know, we're on a bit of a streak, and now you know this is our first sequel, is it?
Yes. Yeah.
So you know, and we both enjoyed Fairytopia.
It shot up to I believe number 3 on the leaderboard.
But we had
quite impressive.
We had the same issue with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we both, I think, the thing which got us before is that we wanted to know more about the world.
Yes.
And so they said, okay, they time travelled back, and they're going to give us more about this world. And this is a sequel which pretty much follows on from the end of the last film.
Like almost immediately. Like straight away, we're following off. After we've had a lovely catch-up of previously in Fairytopia, and an extended credit scene where now everybody wants to be friends with the now winged Elena, sorry. Everybody wants to be her friend now that she's got wings.
And she's bloody good. She's like Oscar Pretorius. She is. If you understand that reference, she's got these fake wings, and she's better than anybody who's been flying their entire lives. I also notice her wings are different, aren't they? I hadn't noticed this last time, but she has butterfly wings, whereas all the other fairies have like dragonfly wings.
Yeah,
I hadn't noticed that last time.
Yeah, they're very, and it's because I assume it's because they came from like the little butterfly pendant that was given to her, which she keeps on, and it doesn't seem to be. I thought they might be connected to the pendant, and therefore when she took the pendant off, she would no longer have wings. But that's not the case, as we're about to find out. But yeah, I mean. I know we've talked about Bibble before. I have to say, by the end of the opening credits, I was a bit like, okay, I'm done with Bibble. But it wins me back quite quickly, which is quite impressive considering how minion-esque Bibble is.
That's interesting, because I didn't like Bibble in this movie at all.
Nice.
I didn't like him in the first movie because he was annoying.
Very annoying.
This fucking 90s tood that he suddenly adopts in this film, which he's like a different person, and I don't understand it. And
he's got a confidence now that they didn't have in the first movie.
Yeah, which just turned him in a little bratty, I think.
Mm.
And as we talk through the film, you know, whereas in the first film he was just there. Yeah. Now he has some more agency, and actually
it's Pirates of the Caribbean 4, isn't it? Jack Sparrow is taking over.
It is. But you know, is he the worst thing about this film? No, not at all.
Interesting.
No,
said yes.
No, there's at least one thing I hate even more than Bibble.
There's one big thing that I've got stood up about this movie. I'm so excited to get into it.
Okay, but yeah, he's there. He's still there. At least he's still there.
Fine.
At least everybody has the same
Consistency.
his characterization. We can explain it away. He's riding high on the back of a big victory, and maybe his confidence his arrogance, I think is what it is misplaced. But everyone else stays the same, including Dandelion, the fucking
the worst friend ever.
I mean,
poor Dandelion this time. It wasn't her fault, to be fair, because almost instantly after the credit sequence, which lasts a very long time, the plot is kick-started because Cindy Lou Who turns up in a really cool characterization. This like fast-talking sort of sea fairy, sea butterfly, I think they're called, turns up and... Yeah, so her characterization is so interesting because they easily could have given us the plot catch up quite briefly and normally, but they do it in this way where this character sort of blurts things out accidentally, and then has to catch up with herself and be like, oh no, like I didn't mean to tell you like that. I wanted to ease into telling you that blah 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 blah. And like that was quite fun. She's like a fast talking almost teenager. And I really enjoyed her characterization, and I was kind of gutted she wasn't in the movie more.
Well, don't you think that's really weird? They have this whole sequence at the beginning where she's like clearly spying on them.
Yeah.
And she leads them to another character, and then just disappears from the movie. And she's visually, she's not quite a Shelley Kelly, is she? She's somewhere between.
No, I didn't see any Shelley Kellys in this movie. Everything had quite an original design.
Were they in Mermaidia? Were they in Fairytopia? I think they were, weren't they? Like briefly, like looking at you creepily. But no, I don't. But she is, I guess, the Kelly Shelley analog. But she disappears. Literally, she carries our people off to somewhere and then just dives into the water. Again, we don't see any more sea butterflies.
Well, we sort of do, because I thought that she did come back, but it wasn't her. I thought she came back in a wig, but it wasn't her. So there's someone with her similar look, or face, at least,
right,
later on.
But basically, there's this new race now, right? So we've got the little pixies, and we've got the fairies, and we've got the mer-people, and we've also got sea butterflies, which are fairies that live underwater but don't have tails.
Yeah.
The bestiary of Fairytopia needs to be written.
Yes. Yeah, I want the Silmarillion of Fairytopia. Yeah. Amazing. So she kickstarts the plot. We're straight to the Coral Cove. Poor Dandelion's like, I'll come with. And Alina's like, no. Your mum, your elusive mum, who we never see, would miss you. So you can't come, Dandelion.
What is the fucking point? I do not understand, right? This is not real life, right? Why have fucking Dandelion if every time she turns up, someone says, no, you've got to go home to your mum? What is the point of her? And as a character, we could have cut her out. I just hope that in one of the other sequels that Dandelion gets her fucking moment in the sun. Honestly, I want a Dandelion story, because yes, she is the worst friend ever, but I think her heart's in the right place.
And there's going to be there's a Lion King 2.5 or whatever. We'll get a Fairytopia Mermaidia 2.5, and the story is Dandelion being like the primary carer for her like aged mother, and that's why she can never leave, because she's like
something like
kitchen sink drama in one of the like tulips peony things.
That's exactly what we need, because I just feel last time we were quite mean to her because she was a bit pathetic. This time she's not even given a chance, which is almost like a callback to the first film, and it's like, but why are you even here? Why bring this up? Why waste 1,000 frames of animation on this?
to talk to replace you. It's not even like you're needed in any way. But yeah, so what's happened that Dandelion can't help with is that Nalu, the prince of the mer-people who we met in Fairytopia, has been kidnapped. Bum, bum, bum. And I remember very, very strongly last time shipping Alina and Nalu. I was big on that. And I really wanted to see more of that relationship blossom. I have changed my mind.
Oh.
So we go to the cove and we see that Nalu's been kidnapped and the fungus who work for Laverna are there. And basically they need to get this berry to help Laverna be immune to all magic going forward. And so she sent 2 fungus and then one like big fungus called Maximus, who is voiced by Major Mint from the Nutcracker.
Oh, okay.
And he does a few more voices. So he's classically British. And he dresses differently, and he's sort of like a lead henchman, I guess. I don't think we've come across him before.
No.
But he's a fun sort of sub-antagonist if Laverna's like trapped in a mushroom realm, unable to
that was
only communicate through a thing. So it was fun.
Yeah, Laverna's in this mushroom kingdom place. Of course, fungus, I suppose, again. She can't leave. So we know her fate.
Yep.
Now from the last film, and she's
Yes.
kind of trapped, but she can still talk via lipstick compact, I think.
Yes, which is the best way to talk.
Of course.
In the 2000s.
And I think I was quite taken by the concept of the fungus last time, and I love the idea of this hive mind. But one of them is mutated into a leader.
Yeah.
And
like Big Daddy in Land of the Dead.
Yeah, and yeah, he's our main antagonist here, isn't it? Laverna is fairly away. It's like she was only available for a day, so we've had to do all her scenes somewhere else. She was on an episode of Doctor Who, and they had to film it on set there. Yes, because I was really taken, if you remember, by the concept of fungus last time.
Yes, so he's really fun. He's very sort of Disney-esque, where he's quite camp and easygoing as a villain.
Well, and very sort of, oh, your evilness.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? No one... Yeah. Because I never got before that Laverna was particularly evil. I think we were quite understanding of her plight. And to have this toady little character going, oh, your evilness, your maleficence, and knows no bounds. I don't know, silly. But, audience, remember, Stephen. Remember who the audience is. So it's very pantomime, isn't it?
Yes, that's the word.
But I kind of like, because I was taken by those fungus characters last time. If you remember, I went on to one about how mushrooms work, and to have one mutate into a leader, I think that's kind of exciting.
It's apt, yeah, very much so.
But yes, he's got the prince.
Yes, and the prince remains a really fun character throughout this movie. Quite sassy, quite kind of okay with his own kidnapping, where he's just like, what an inconvenience to my day this is.
Did you not get the feeling he could escape any minute he wanted to?
Oh my fucking god, he's a merman and he's underwater. It's like, swim away, Nalu. Swim away.
I just had this feeling he was in complete control the whole time, and he just wanted to see it through to see what happens.
Yeah, he was just like, I'm bored. Like, very sort of when rich people have sport that's like hunting humans just to see what happens. It's like, I'll let myself be kidnapped just to see where this day goes. But he doesn't actually need a rescue. Like, he's fine.
Yeah, he's just like, I'll get to the end of this. I'll find out what they really want, and I'll put a stop to it then. Meanwhile, I'm having me some fun.
Yeah. The main threat is that Max has this vial of poison, which turns the water green and I assume uninhabitable. I'm not sure that it's reversible either, so that's the big threat. We don't want that to enter the water system, because otherwise Mermaidia will become like planet Earth. It's very dangerous, and that was a bit dark, I thought. Yeah, very environmental 90s.
This threat which may or may not get played out in full as the film goes on, is fucking dark. It's going to kill everybody under the water,
Yeah.
and as we find out,
The
there's more people under the water than above the water.
Literally.
This isn't like ha 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 where the Verna's going to take over the world. This is a
We're
really
gonna
dark
kill
threat.
all of you.
We're going to kill
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah, we're not going to make you have to leave the water. You're going to die.
Yeah, you're going to die, and your place is going to be uninhabitable forever.
You're going to suffocate. Your gills are going to fill with this black murk, and you're going to suffocate,
waste.
which is the worst way to die, apparently. Anyway, let me stop going this dark place, but it's your fault, writer of this movie.
Yeah. It's a lot. But it's good. We love our Barbie movies to have a bit of bite. So Alina turns up and we meet Nori, which is a delicious snack.
Yeah.
And
it's Japanese seaweed, isn't it? That wraps around sushi and the like,
rice,
isn't it?
Yeah. Yummy. So she is a friend of Nalu's, and it's implied very quickly that she's perhaps more than a friend, even though she wasn't in Fairytopia. And this was my fear coming off of the back of Fairytopia, that such a character would be introduced, that we would have this mermaid foil for Nalu. And it appears that we do. And very, very quickly, she's incredibly snappy towards Alina. And she says things like, oh, you're not that beautiful, which is so awful. And immediately I wrote, boo, female hating female, hate this. Like, Barbie has been really good up until this point of not falling into that classic trope of the women pitted against each other, especially in pursuit of a man. And yet it felt very quickly like we were falling into that trap.
Yeah, she throws a bit of shade Barbie's way. And yeah, she's a bit of a cowbag. But this is the first time we've had someone like this, I think.
Yeah, a completely different personality than what we're used to. Very openly opinionated, sassy, implied lower working class, great design. I immediately was like, if Stephen and I ever have to cosplay as Barbie characters because we've been invited to a big event, I'm going as Nori. I'm going as Nori. Like that, you're not allowed Nori.
Okay, I won't dress as Nori. I won't dress as Nori. Okay. I'm going to go as Bibble.
Love her look. love her look. And I was really a bit sort of concerned about where this was heading, because she dives off to Mermaidia and she's like, don't follow me, to Alina. She's like, I'm going to save Nalu by myself. And I was like, ugh.
See,
Alina as a character.
You were seeing it from a feminist kind of viewpoint. Not a feminist viewpoint, that's wrong. As a female viewpoint. And I was viewing it as a racist thing.
Oh, interesting.
Mermaids and fairies. I mean, it's never going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And is there a tension between? Remember, it's all called Fairytopia, and these guys aren't fairies, even though they have the sea butterflies.
Yeah.
And really, physically, nothing's going to happen. A bird can't fuck a fish, right? It's not going to happen. They're
you
from...
say that.
Yes.
But we'll have a think about that.
We will do.
So I was quite concerned. We then get the introduction of a fucking terrifying turtle.
Yeah. So
I literally wrote, what the fuck is that?
If you think about Finding Dory and Nemo, what's the film with Nemo? The Finding Dory was a sequel to.
Finding Nemo.
It's called Finding Nemo. Yeah, that's right. God, I'm not having a good day today. Spoilers. Emily's had me up far too early on a Sunday. My brain's not in gear. Yeah, but you know the turtle in that, the one that's like, "Hey man," and he's kind of
Yeah,
cool, and he's like,
Crush.
and he's like the, like the California surf dude,
Hey, little
but it's quite a
dude.
nice, character design. This
Hmm.
thing is like they fucking aliens from Roswell that are gonna probe your arse, and and there's a couple of characters in this film where the character design. Do you remember how I didn't realise the fellow in that other film was a butterfly?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like that. The
It's like
same
that. It's
person.
like
They said you did such a great job on that fucking incredible Hulk butterfly thing. We're gonna
we
give.
want you back.
We want you back. I've got a couple of characters for you. A kind of. We'll start with this turtle thing. I've got something better.
Sexy lady turtle. Make
I've-
sure that everybody knows that this turtle is a girl.
I've got something better later for you to try your. But let's just start with the fucking creepiest looking turtle in the world. Yeah. Luckily,
my
no one
God.
gets their asses prodded, but Jesus Christ, that's scary. And yeah, you sent me a picture of it last night, and it was like, yeah, that. we're
It's so awful.
we're definitely
It's
talking
like,
about that.
It's like full lips and like mascara, Kim Kardashian eyebrows. Like it's like we get it. Like they're girls. This is for girls, but like, calm down.
It is. It's like a sexy grey for you
It's
X-Files fans
awful.
out there. Oh my God. Oh dear. I'm having nightmares
Um,
already.
Jesus Christ. So, yes, so Shelley is the name of this turtle, and she basically reminds everyone that there's this seaweed. Bibble has this whole fucking bit where he doesn't want to eat the seaweed, and you're like, Bibble, we haven't got time for this.
I don't remember
Um,
Bibble not wanting to go underwater last time. Did that happen?
No.
No.
Well, they were more under threat last time.
Oh,
I
the
think.
Firebirds were after them, weren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, his attitude in this sequence annoys me.
It's disgusting. It's like he needs a timeout, is what he needs.
He needs to go back to
smacked
Peony,
bottom.
go and stay with Dandy. In fact, he should look after Dandelion's fucking mum.
He should look after Dandelion's mum, so
And
then Dandelion
Dandelion
can
can
come.
come. Yeah.
But it's fine because I don't want Dandelion on this adventure because I'm ramping. I'm ramping so hard. I've got such strong feelings about this movie. You can probably guess where it's going.
I
But,
can.
oh, fuck me. I fucking love this movie so much. So we meet up with Nori again, and she's trying to convince the little, like, weird, creepy, again, overly sexualized, mature. They're like old women, but they're like in child's bodies. It's terrifying.
God. Nothing.
Again, they're not Shelleys or Kellys. They're their own design. They're almost brats like
They
in their
are.
design.
This whole look, pre-Funko Pop look.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's the age thing. They're like old people in children's bodies, and
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate it.
I don't mind. It's this time I was like, this is interesting. This is weird. They feel like immortal. They're mer fairies, is what they are. And they're just a bit weird, and I didn't mind it because I quite liked how odd they were as a character. Like, they love the animals of the ocean, and they give advice in rhyme, and they're just a bit weird. They're weird. They're really weird, but I love it. Nori does more. I literally wrote that she's xenophobic here. I was like, fucking hell, Nori, like, sort your attitude out. But then I started writing, I love Nori's design, and then I wrote, I also just love Nori in general. And she uses Alina to get some information out of these mer fairies, which was fun. You know, it's because, like, that it was a fun little bit. I liked the mer fairies, as creepy as they are, and I liked what we learned from them. So then we start our quest, and again, Nori, trying to be a bit of a bitch, zooms off underwater and is like, catch me if you can. And Alina flies through the air. So we've got a really lovely bit of animation where Nori is storming through the water and Alina is flying really fast through the air. And they can sort of see each other through the water. And I was like, huh.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Really fun.
It's Fast and Furious Barbie style, isn't it? It's
And then it got How to Train Your Dragon Barbie style, where Alina's like dodging through all these pillars and stuff, and it was a really great sequence, and it was really fun, and it was imaginative, and it was kind of beautiful. And then they get to this waterfall, And by this point, they've both sort of become okay with each other. And they're like, it's like, you're all right. Like, I've tested you and you're keeping up with me. You're all right.
Nice.
They get to this waterfall and both of them, like, full speed ahead. And they dive off this waterfall and they look at each other as they're going over the waterfall. And then they both put their hands out to dive into the water below. And it is the most erotic, romantic thing I have ever seen. And I was instantly like, if these two characters don't end up together at the end of this movie, I'm going to be really mad. I ship Alina and Nori so fucking hard. This is an LGBTQ plus movie. This is about two women falling in love. This is what this movie is about.
You're going to be
they are in
so
a relationship.
disappointed.
They are in a relationship. That is just how this movie goes. And I was like, surely I am not alone in this reading. And I went onto Instagram and I am not. And like, if you ship these two characters, you fucking tell me, email in at whythisfilmpodcast@gmail.com or comment on Instagram, because holy hell, I have never wanted two characters to get together more. I have never seen such an obvious, like, queer coding in my life. Like, these two characters fancy each other, and as we go through the movie, they're going to fall more and more in love with each other. And that is what this movie is about.
Okay.
Did you read that?
No.
Did you see that?
No.
Did you not see it at all?
Well,
Not even an inkling?
But now you're saying it. So what I saw is a kind of rote, here's two. If they were both guys, right,
Mm-hmm.
and they'd be getting their dicks out and saying who's got the bigger dick, and that's what I saw this whole scene as, and then in the end there's a grudging respect, which is the gateway to a deeper friendship. This is every action movie with 2 stars I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
But now you've said all this, right, and you've put
Mm-hmm.
this erotic gloss on this race. I'm never going to be able to unsee that now, am I?
Yep. And you shouldn't, because they are the perfect couple. Like, this is a gay movie. Like, I'm saying it now. It's fact. Like, it's fact. They went over that waterfall and sealed the deal. I was like, that is the sexiest thing I've ever seen in a Barbie movie. Like,
Okay.
that was so romantic. That was so nice.
You watched this with your mum, right?
She gave up halfway through and went to bed.
So it's too sexy for me.
It's too hot to handle.
At my age, I can't handle it. No, but now I feel really bad that
Genuinely.
I hadn't spotted it. But
No. Like,
but
if you're not pre-positioned to see it or like, it's not going to happen. Like, I knew they weren't going to get together at the end. Spoilers, because it's a fucking Barbie movie from like 2006 or whatever. But like, I'm not the only one that wanted it to happen. And
no,
they
I can see that Instagram and Twitter is full of this. And that's interesting, because again, like we said before, this is the first time Barbie's had an analogue which wasn't herself.
Yeah.
We now have another character, another strong female character. I mean, she may be a bit racist and other things.
I think she's just insecure.
Well, as it turns out, incredibly fucking insecure. The whole bravado, the whole false shield is going to come tumbling down eventually, and I guess maybe then is when I'm seeing that relationship shifting, and this is the beginning of that relationship shift, because you can keep up with me, all right, maybe you're not as useless as I was thinking you were. But I'm not seeing stars and rainbows and unicorns yet.
Oh, I am. I literally wrote, "Fuck the prince. I now ship them." Who gives a shit about Nalu anymore? This movie is about Nori and Alina. So following the advice, they go to Delphine, who is like a sort of fortune teller, which is lovely, because it's like Oracle at Delphine. Someone thought 2 seconds about that, which I'm happy about. What I'm not happy about is that they got that fucking bloke back to design
Fucking
fairy.
Jesus Christ! What the fuck was? What is it? What? There
What is it even meant to be in the first place?
A sea snail. It's a sea snail, right? Which is a thing. Yeah, which is a thing. They're not the size of the fucking Empire State Building. One, well, maybe not that big, which is the size of an articulated truck. It is ugly. It serves no fucking purpose. They're mermaids. They're fucking mermaids. They don't need a ferry to get.
She gets her tail and puts it in a boat. I was like,
Jesus Christ! But if the design of the turtle was disturbing, this just makes me feel ill. It was like it was designed with plasticine or Play-Doh and
by a 3-year-old.
And it's too big and it's too smooth and it's a fucking snail, which many animals you can anthropomorphize. Is that the word? And you can we talked a lot jokingly
There's been plenty
about
of snails in kids' cartoons before.
Yeah, but they're not sexy. Yeah,
They're
Brian the
fine,
Snail, Magic Roundabout ain't fucking sexy. He's a northern bloke. But we had the Pegasus last time, right? Sexy horses. And I kept saying sexy horses.
Sexy horse.
And I'm sure a lot of people think I've got a thing for horses. And, but I would, I'd date that horse. She's got sexy eyes. This thing is the least
nightmarish.
It's like
Cronenberg. It's like The Thing.
I should, I would never say it to her face, but my God, that's a face that only nightmares should see. And but it's worse because then it opens up.
Yeah.
To have another thing inside it,
which I thought was the Cindy Lou Who fairy from earlier.
I
She's
see.
got the same face.
Yeah, but no, because
no, it's just another random thing.
Oh, because no, what's Nori? Nori is like another tit again, right? So he goes, hey, you can the answer, can you? And I really went off her at this. I was just thinking, I thought you'd grown up a little bit, but you've got even worse. And between her and Bibble, it's the brattiest. Maybe it's the dad in me coming out, but those two are over my fucking knee, right, and gonna get a slap. And I don't even believe in capital punishment. But luckily Alina goes, oh, I know what it is. You're not really the oracle. It's you big freak snail woman thing. And you think, again, there's another 1,000 frames of animation we didn't need. Because
it's like the whole universe is trying to dupe them. Like the mer fairies were like speaking in rhyme, and they were like, "It is within the shell that you will find the answer." And so they meet this sea snail, and they're like, "Can you open your shell up for us?" And she's like, "Of course." Very like coy. She does. This little fairy comes out and starts blabbering on. I didn't even pay attention for what she was saying. And Nori is understandandly frustrated. And is like,
you're just far too soft on that girl.
I love Nori. She didn't do anything wrong. She was impatient because, she was confused about her feelings. She's trying to do this quest to save her potential boyfriend, but she's fallen in love with this fairy lady. Like, she's getting angsty. She's got a lot going on. And Alina is staying quite calm because she's very okay with her feelings. She's always been a bit of an outsider. It's nothing new to her. So she's able to listen and be like, oh, the creepy fucking snail is the oracle of Delphi. So.
Oh, have we mentioned the creepy fucking snail not only looks creepy, but it's got a creepy voice?
It's got a really creepy voice.
Oh, it's just the most disgusting thing I've seen in animation. I watched this film a week ago, and it's appeared in at least 2 nightmares. Ugh.
So Nicole Oliver does the voice of Delphine. I'm sure she's happy to know that she's in your nightmares.
I'm sorry, Nicole. You're a great voice actress, I am sure. It's not your fault. You didn't draw it. Oh.
Yeah. Bless her. So finally we get to say goodbye to the snail because she tells us that we have to go to the depths of despair and seek out the mirror of the mist, and that will tell us where Nalu is. In order to do that, Alina is given a pearl necklace that will allow her to give up her wings in place of a tail. And she's like, I just did a whole movie about getting my wings. Like, I'm not. I'm not going to fucking give up my wings. You're mental as well as hideous. And she is like, well, just in case you change your mind, here's the pearl necklace. And it's arbitrarily like, it will turn blue and then it will gradually turn back to white. And if you are out of the water as it turns white, you will get your wings back. Otherwise, you'll be a mermaid forever, ever.
So I know, my head knows, right, that this is just a movie. And I know this is a trope of the fantasy movie. But why does this thing even fucking exist? Why is there a thing which turns fairies into mermaids that exists, period? Why have we had to go on this journey?
It's such a convoluted
journey to go and get this thing which has no purpose other than this specific fucking incident where a fairy has decided to come and get involved in mer-people business.
Because there's lots of mer fairies and there's sea butterflies and like, yeah, I
get it. This is.
Guess it. I was honestly invested in the choice that she would make, whether she would give up her tail. I mean, she has a tail on the DVD cover, but that's beside the point. What would happen at the end?
But it's
like I was really interested to see.
Yeah.
When the pearls go back.
And I was, we obviously know that the pearls are going to go back. We know how.
Well, no,
this works.
much like the Nutcracker, I was like, hey,
you thought there might be a chance you'd do it in time, right?
I know. Well, yeah, because if you take what we learned in Fairytopia, where Nalu and Alina were like giving each other sexy eyes, maybe her turning into a mermaid is gonna turn Nori into like an antagonist, and there's going to be like a love triangle. Like, I didn't know where they wanted to go with it. I didn't know how complex they wanted to get this Barbie movie.
Pretty certain in a series called Fairytopia she was going to be a fairy at the end of it. I've got to say, but I get that I get the trope of it. I understand it. I wasn't as annoyed as I'm making out. I'm still terrified. Remember, that snail is still on the screen.
That's true. You're not really focused on the right things, right?
I'm not, and I get it. And while this is all going on, this is more of what we loved in the film 2 films ago. Yeah, there's a quest. We're visiting all these amazing places with interesting characters. Now, for me, the sea is a bit underpopulated at times, because we didn't talk. Did we talk about that place where they go round and round repeating themselves?
No, so we keep cutting back to how Nalu's doing with the fungi, and initially he's taken them to the Carousel of Confusion,
that's right,
which is a funny little sequence where he just keeps telling the fungi to turn left, and it's brilliantly done where Maximus is being all pompous, where he's like, where to for the berry of immunity? And Nalu is like matching his energy by being like, take a left at the next coral. And they do that like 4 times. It's actually really fun.
They do.
You're just like, Nalu is
stop it just at the right point, don't they?
Yeah.
Because yes, I remember that's what the original turtle was warning them about, wasn't it? That they
don't
go
to the Carousel of Confusion.
Don't go there. And but again, the only thing I didn't like about that, the underwater seems very underpopulated. I got the carousel.
I feel like the Carousel of Confusion is a bit like the drop-off in Finding Nemo. Like, I understood why sort of no one was there, whereas where Alina was this sort of thriving metropolis of like houses and people.
But everywhere else, there seems, even from now on, there aren't many characters under the sea. They all seem to live in the same city. Maybe they've just all moved.
It's like if you were doing a road trip in America and you would go to a city, but then you would spend a lot of time driving through the desert, and that's sort of what they're doing.
I mean,
they're driving through the sort of waste space of the ocean.
Yeah, thinking about it. I mean, I've been snorkeling and stuff off the coast of Thailand and places, and there's hundreds of fish everywhere. But I've only been off the coast. I haven't been into the deep sea.
Yeah.
I assume the deep sea is a pretty empty place apart from...
And they are quite deep. And I imagine that people would stay where the sort of Wi-Fi and McDonald's are.
Yeah.
You know.
As long as they don't...
You're not going to...
Do you think they eat filet of fish?
The underwater McDonald's, yeah.
What will Nalu have a filet of fish?
Nalu is a filet of fish. He's fun. He's fun. He's just irrelevant to this love story now.
He might just stick him on the Barbie. Nori has taken over.
Nori's moved in. But no, he's really fun. So he's at the Carousel of Confusion, which is fun. And then we see them another time about to go into a whirlpool. And Max is like, where are we going? And he's literally like, that way. Yeah. Like, he's so done. Like, he's just sat on the side of this beach, like, that way. That's the way to the berry. That's where we got to go. We either do it or we don't. It's completely up to you. And Max is like freaking out. It's just a really fun dynamic.
It is. It's just there's a secondary quest going on. We're not. No, is clearly just taking them on the longest fucking journey
of his life.
To the point. I mean, I've never met such a fucking happy captive. And like you say, you know he can get away at any minute. He's under no peril at all, and he's basically just having a bit of fun.
Yeah, and that's good for the target audience. Like, you're not worried for Nalu. You'd like them to rescue him, but you're not like, holy shit, like, he's in real danger here. He's fine. And the other two are just doing what they're doing because they're building a relationship. Yeah. Because we get to the depths of despair, and Lena is like dead set against, like, I'm not fucking getting a tail. Like, you can jog on. Like, it's not happening. So Nori starts swimming, but the current in the depths of despair is way too strong. And Alina can't follow her down. But then Nori gets into trouble. She gets trapped by this, like, seaweed. And she's like, Alina, help me. She only needs to hear her scream once. And Alina is instantly like, swap my wings for a tail. And then she's like, whoa, why did I do that? Because you're in love, Alina. That's true love. You just swapped your wings that you spent a whole movie getting for a tail for Nori because she was in trouble. That is true love. It's true love.
If I sacrifice my legs for a fishtail. No, she double sacrificed her legs and her wings.
Yeah, it's true love.
Because you could have had wings and a tail, and then you could have been best of both worlds, Hannah Montana style. But no, she's lost it all. Although she's a sexy fish, isn't she? She's a
very sexy fish.
Sexy colour scheme she gets.
And her and Nori look really good together.
Yes, almost as if they were designed that way. But yeah, but there's a bit of threat down here, I think. There's
a lot of threat down here.
I worried about Nori at this point because I thought, if this was a Disney movie, one of them would have died by now. Someone would have died.
Yeah, one of them could have died. Yeah.
Or something terrible could have happened to them at the very least. But Barbie films don't really go down that route, do they?
No.
They don't follow that playbook. But yeah. They get and that sacrifice pay off, and lucky they found the Oracle of Delphi, or whatever she was called, because now now there's some more peril with the countdown of the pearls.
Yes, so the pearls have turned blue, so now we're just waiting for them to turn white, and we know that if she's not on land when they turn white, she's not getting her wings back. She bloody loves those wings.
As and we didn't slag it off. That's a bit harsh, but we were disappointed in that turn of
in
events.
The sort of ableist, yeah.
And I think it's quite nice that she does sacrifice it after being a bit of a, there was something that made us a bit uncomfortable. It's nice to see her sacrifice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it doesn't fix the problems of the previous film, but what it's going to mean is that it's earned rather than just given.
Yeah, very much so. And we got the feeling with Fairytopia that they'd always planned on more sequels, so it's nice to see them expanding on that quite quickly in the next movie. I have written here, I know I wanted the prince and Alina, fuck that noise, Alina and Nori forever, because they've just rescued each other from, like, evil seaweed, and they swim away basically holding hands, and it's great.
You're having a great old time with this
really
with this, aren't you?
I I was so into it. I was like, yes, I love this. This is so good. Icons, both of them. Like, it just, I don't know, you just start to see it everywhere. Yeah, so they find where Nalu is, and on the way they find themselves in the garden full of magic berries, which is where Nalu is trying to get to with the funguses, because that's where they'll find the berry of immunity, and they find a bunch of different berries, and a lot of them do a lot of weird stuff. And we have to find this out through the use of Bibble, who has been quite nicely quiet. Oh, we went through like a really fun like volcanic bit where again the girls worked together and like trusted in each other and like held hands a lot.
They're yeah, the holding hand stuff does happen, yes, but yeah, this relationship now, this friendship, I'm going to call it a friendship. I feel like an old granddad whose lesbian granddaughters come home with her first girlfriend, and he insists on calling her friend.
Yeah.
Which is not right me now. At all. But they go through these perils together. They make sacrifices, and Nori's attitude. The thing that you haven't really mentioned is that Nori's attitude to Alina, 180s.
Yeah.
It's not just about that
yeah,
point
they're in
where
love now. They're a couple now.
It's not. It wasn't about. There was a bit where for me it was about respect, but now it's about, my God, you've sacrificed for me. You're actually quite a good egg, and now they're BFFs.
They're in love.
Yeah. In your
they're
world.
Together.
In your world.
They're in a relationship.
Yeah.
They're trying to figure out how to break it to Nalu. Is what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from something, but yeah, carry on.
Yeah. Apart from it's like Calamity Jane, and I'll talk about that more when we get there. But,
okay.
It's basically Calamity Jane all over again. Yeah, so we'd been quite fortunate where we hadn't had quite a lot of Bibble for a while, and to compensate with this, they wanted to make it the Bibble show. Where I think if you're going to be a 7-year-old child, this is going to be very amusing.
Yes, there's this place where there's these berries which basically do fairly rubbish stuff to you. Except in amongst these parlour tricks, shall we call them, there's something which makes you immune to bloody magic, period. It's like in this hall of potato guns, we've got a 1 megaton nuclear weapon.
Yeah, pretty much. So by this point, Nalu's already found it and given it to Fungus, or Fungus is Laverna knows that Fungus has got it because she's been checking in on her Totally Spies compact video caller. And so they've got the immunity berry, so they're on their way back to Laverna. But we're running through this garden and we see the immunity berry, and we see a berry that brings out your true self, and we see a bunch of other bullshit berries, which Bibble has to eat, because then we get the wonderful thing where Bibble's voice changes. Basically, it's like the cameo bit in Casper where he like looks in the mirror and turns into Rodney Dangerfield. You're like, no child is gonna get this. Beyond like ha ha ha, the thing is different now.
I thought it was quite funny. It's my favourite Bibble moment.
No.
What does this say to me? I was tired of all this. And then suddenly
that's a very good Bibble. Well done.
Oh God, I've been exposed with a. If I'm going to cosplay as Bibble, I will have to.
Yeah, you've got to get it down.
The voice, but yeah, and to have him actually. Is it him? I think we've decided it's a him, haven't we?
I don't know.
It's
like how everyone calls BB-8 him, but technically she's a her, but no one cares because it's a droid.
Yeah, and it's just a label.
Yeah.
But I don't know why. I've always thought it's Bibble as a boy. But there's no.
Me too.
Bibble just sounds like a boy's name, doesn't it? But there are no other Bibbles. That's still bugging me.
He's a puffball, which is indicated to be a known species, but
Indeed.
He seems to be the only puffball that hangs out with Alina, who also seems to possibly be the only orphan in Fairytopia. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or is Dandelion the only one with parents? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that we'd like sorted out for us, and we could start the wiki.
We need a TV series.
We so do, don't we? Live action.
We need a 10-part live action. Oh my god, yes. Yes. Yeah, so I've written, oh fucking hell, Bibble. Because I think it was just that I was teetering. It was late at night. I'd had some Maltesers and I was invested in this LGBTQ plus relationship. And then it got a little bit 2000s cringe for me, where it was an easy joke where basically he like sings Queen of the Night as like an opera singer. He does this like yodeling thing, which is always cringy. And then he has like a Barry White voice.
Isn't that
and
you've got okay. No soul. This is class. This is the best of Bibble. This is the funniest moment so far in any Barbie movie. Now I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. It is the most obvious comedy that there can be, but at least Bibble does something and not be a little twat.
And it's used in the plot.
It's absolutely used in the plot, yes. So apart from then he becomes a dick again and becomes problematic in a minute, but yeah.
So they use his like Queen of the Night aria to distract the fungi because they've come to the surface and seen that Nalu has been strung up like the shark in Jaws. By his tail dangling over the water. And for the first time in the movie, we feel like he's actually in danger. He's struggling and he's quite put out. It's not fun anymore. He has the berry. Max has the berry and he's talking to Laverna and she knows that they've got the berry. And they're basically leaving him out to dry. So they distract the fungi with Bibble's aria. And it works for some reason. Whatever. Just, yeah. We need Nalu because we need to talk to him about our relationship. So they rescue Nalu, but then and we're in the climax, and it's all a bit tense because quite well they've put these things in place. So they're like, brilliant, Nalu's back in the water, Bibble is distracting the fungi, we need to leave. And Nalu's like, we can't leave because Max has the berry. We need to get the berry from Max because otherwise we're all fucked. And so they come up with like a plan and they snatch the berry from him, and it's good, it's great, we're on it. And then the pearls are starting to count down, and Alina needs to get to the surface.
Tension.
It's all very tense. So she gets up to the surface and she's got the berry with her, and but Max finds her and he's like, give me the berry or I'll fucking destroy the ecosystem of Mermaidia with my toxic waste, like some Batman villain. And she's like, fuck. So she gives him the berry, but like any great villain, he does it anyway. Like, I hate it. Honestly, it stops my heart every time they do this. Like, they do it in Ever After, where she's like, the shoes, your mother's shoes or your father's book, Danielle, and she gets neither. And it's really sad. And it's really sad here because he gets the berry and then he poisons the water anyway. And he drops the whole vial into the water. And the final pearl is just about to turn white. But Alina has to stop the vial from hitting the water because her girlfriend's down there and she needs to save her. So
everybody's done. This is going to wipe out life underwater.
It's going to kill her girlfriend.
And everybody else.
So she has to dive down into the water. And just as she hits the water and catches the vial, the Beauty and the Beast potion kicks in. She's got a tail. She's got a tail forever now. And I was genuinely... I stopped. I was like, oh, wow. Like, this is really good. Because they easily could have skipped all of this and not had this tension and not had this climax in this way. And I was like, what does this mean now? Like, are you gonna live as a mermaid? And she talks through the consequences of her sacrifice as well, where she's like, I'm never gonna see Dandelion again, which is fucking like, 'cause Dandelion can visit. I mean, She's never
Oh, I
going to see
don't know.
Dandelion again because Dandelion doesn't leave Fairytopia. Like, that's on Dandelion. That's not a thing that, like, yeah. Get better friends. And she's never going to see Bibble again because Bibble can't just keep chomping down on the seaweed for the rest of his life.
Can't he?
Well, he can, but they make it out like he can't.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, she's made a proper sacrifice, and that. It's not just about having to live underwater. It's about she got everything. The thing that she wanted most in the world, that she only goes on about since she's got it, the wings. She's lost, and now there's double jeopardy because she's now got to live underwater the rest of her life, which doesn't seem so bad, apart from the creepy turtles.
And apart from the fact that you're like upending. We talked last time about being transformed from a person to an animal back to a person, and if you've been a fairy all your life and then suddenly you're a mermaid, it's like, well, I don't. It's like moving town completely, and species as well. You're like, I'm not comfortable as a mermaid. Like, I don't know. It's not. So I got it. I was really quite sad for her, and it was all very sad. And what was the worst part was that fucking Prince Nalu, be sassy to the villains, Nalu, but fucking save it when we're in a poignant moment here, because she's like. She's like, I had to dive in. I had to stop the vial from poisoning your ecosystem. And Nori gets it. Nori's like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, you didn't need to do that, and you did it for us and for me, your girlfriend. And I really love you because we're in a relationship and it's mutual, and I respect you so much and love you to pieces. And that was really lovely. And then Nalu was like, oh, do you mean to tell me that Max has got the berry, you fucking idiot? And I was like, Nalu, she's just fucking sacrificed her wings for you, you dick. Like, he really is not nice in this moment. And then Nori points out that, don't worry, the clever girls have, like, switched the berry prior to this. So Fungus is going off with a completely different berry. Against his knowledge, and we've got the real berry that we can now store somewhere properly. And Nalu's like, oh, thank God. Okay, cool. It's fine then. And you're like, again, Nalu, Alina just sacrificed her wings for you. Can you show a bit of, like, remorse or empathy or thanks? Like, you're the fucking leader of this nation. Like, fucking sort it out.
And some of this comes down to your shipping from before, because these guys barely know each other. Right?
Yeah.
The whole fact that what do you call that one? The underwater fairy again?
The sea butterfly or the mer?
The sea butterfly thing. The fact that she came and got Alina on the back of one visit that she had once, which was in a life during wartime kind of event. Said, we all thought, maybe there's maybe a little something here, but it was a little side quest last time, wasn't it? So actually, it turns out we didn't really know him at all. So firstly, he's been floating around with the baddies in a kind of fairly glib way,
to the point that undermines their whole everything that they're doing for him.
Exactly, and then he acts a complete. He is. Do you know those Superman is a dick memes?
Yeah.
That's what I think of Nalu, right
I've got
now.
no time for him.
Yeah, and I know they're out of context, but in context, this guy is a twat.
Yeah, he's horrible. And just really bummed out.
Your whole storyline from this episode is about to come crashing down. Yeah.
It's Calamity Jane. Calamity Jane is a musical from the, I believe, 50s or 60s, starring Doris Day, about a cowgirl who falls in love with a showgirl, and they set up a home in the woods together, and they live and have a relationship, and then they have to marry men because it was the 50s and it was illegal to be gay. But that is what Calamity Jane is about. It's about two women falling in love. And that is what Barbie Fairytopia Mermaidia is about. It's about two women falling in love. But because it's the mid-2000s, nothing's changed since the 50s, we have to force... It's so tacked on. We've never seen Nori and Nalu in the same shot until 5 minutes ago. And yet we are to believe that they both love each other.
And
Told.
haven't been... Nori wasn't there in the last movie.
Nope.
And... is this the first time we see them together? I had thought there was something very early on in the film where we saw them together, but maybe that's just a supposition on my part.
Nope. The first time we see Nori, she's like calling out for Nalu, but he's already been kidnapped.
And Alina sort of goes, "Oh, the thing is though, you've got the hots for him, haven't you?" And I'm going, just tries to do the whole, get the pair of them together, so they both
because out of nowhere Nalu leans over and like touches Nori's hand, and she's like, I love her. She's like, what? I thought you loved Alina. Like she's not even subtle about it. She's just like, why are you holding my hand? I thought you loved the fairy lady. And he's like, what? No. And Alina's like, Nori, we're just really good friends. And I was like, bullshit, for one. Like, the eyes you gave each other in Fairytopia was not just friends. Secondly, and then Alina's like, he loves you just like you love him. And again, Nori's like, shut up, Alina.
Shut up.
I love you.
Shut
not
up.
Nalu.
Stop talking.
I know I said that at the beginning of the movie, but shush, because I want to go out with you now. I don't want to go out with Nalu. And then Nalu's like, do you love me? And then Nori's put in a really difficult position and has to say yes. It's really sad.
The whole relationship's built on a wall of lies and misdirection and unrequited feelings, and the whole there's a darkness is going to come to Mermaidia because the wolf. This is like Charles and Diana again. Really,
all over again.
Really, it should have been Diana and Camilla. Charles. Oh,
it's a shame, and I know why it happened. Although Adventure Time did it, so why couldn't Barbie? Adventure Time had the guts to have a gay relationship.
Adventure Time's some 20 to 30 years later, and
it's not that long. Adventure Time is like 2010. It started.
I suppose it's about 5, but a different. Has a slightly different audience.
It's a different vibe. It's a different audience. There'll be different studio people behind it. Adventure Time does a lot of quite impressive things.
Yeah, it's
one of them being the relationships that they forge and the ideas that they put out. Whereas Barbie was never going to be that brave.
Adventure Time is transgressive. Barbie is about selling Barbie dolls mostly to American in small town America, right? Where even. In this enlightened age of 2005, 6, something like that we're in now.
2006.
Yeah, we're still a ways off Barbie ever. I can see it now. Can you not see the hurt people saying, "Oh my God, now Barbie's a lesbian. This is the worst thing that's ever happened."
Yeah, like she still hasn't come out as gay. I'm sure Barbie, if you go to Barbie's social media at the moment, I'm sure they're doing all of their corporate pride stuff for Pride Month, but she herself has not done anything like that. So, I didn't expect. It's Calamity Jane all over again, where you just stop paying attention after a certain point and you're like, and then they were in a relationship and Nalu went home. And I've written here, the only people in love here are Alina and Nori. You cowards. I'm not invested in this false romance.
That only exists in your head.
It does not only exist in my head. It exists in at least 3 other people's heads, according to Instagram.
No, it's fine. I get it. Because even if I didn't have that world there's been put this alternative movie that you've had going on in your own head. To me, I would have this. Although I knew where this was going from minute one, right? This is
Yeah.
there's no shock or surprise about this. You
Yeah.
have kind of skipped over a few moments in the film where it's been clear that Nori has a crush on Nalu, and that Barbie's being
There's
her.
been a couple of conversations where she's like, "Oh no, you can't get with a prince can never marry a commoner." Like that's not how it happens here in Mermaidia.
That kind of stuff's been there, but frankly, I could have done without.
Bullshit.
I could have done without it all. It's because that's actually more disturbing to me. The fact that someone can only go and rescue someone because they love them.
Yeah.
That I find.
And we're not invested in their romance. We've not seen them on screen together at all. We don't know that they like each other except for the fact that they've told us. So that's quite lazy relationship building as well. It would have been better to have held off. And if you were going to do a third one, then start investigating the relationship between Nori and Nalu. Don't just pair them up. Again, like Barbie has been quite good up until this point of not just randomly pairing people up because one has a penis and one has a vagina. But that's sort of what they do here, except they both have tails. And it's quite lazy and thoughtless, which is why I and others have read it as this is a gay movie about two women falling in love, and then there is a 2-second ending where the mermaids go off because they give Alina the berry that shows you your true self. And again, I was very excited because I was like, maybe she was a mermaid the whole time and that's why she didn't have wings. Like maybe they'll do something cool with this. They didn't. They just gave her an upgrade of wings. And they gave her like badass wings.
It was
it's fine.
It was so that whole berry thing, right? It's like I said, when they were floating through and this berry does this berry, I knew what this berry was going to do. I knew that this berry was going to give her wings back. They must have fucking known that they would have done this. All it does really is away from your fantasy world of LGBT plus Barbie, which is, I'm not having a go at it. It just isn't happening. Is that now I feel her wings are earned. Yeah, she's made a genuine sacrifice on multiple levels, and whereas before they were given to her, and
for having a good arm,
for having a good old throw the thing into the thing,
which she'd been doing all of her life. So if you were just going to give me wings for being able to throw why didn't I get wings 20 years ago?
It's also a shame they couldn't have made use of that throwing ability in this like she needed to throw the vial, but it's fine. It's not her story. It's her and Nori's story here. But I thought it was a bit obvious. Like, oh god, that's gonna fix her. So that peril's gone. I did quite like though what it does to Laverna. Yeah, so the berry looks very similar to the immunity berry, just with a red stripe around it. So that's how they've managed to convince Fungus to give it to Laverna, who goes to visit her and immediately eats it, thinking she'll be immune to all magic. But instead, she turns into a frog queen, which is actually a really fun design. And because it's a human being transformed into an animal, it can get away with the more sort of luscious lips that the Barbie animals often have. And like that turtle looked like it used to once be a human, but it didn't. It's just a turtle. Whereas the design for the Laverna frog is really fun. And Max is still loyal and obedient to her, which was fun. I thought there might be a sort of twist in the power because he's not a frog. And he'd be able to sort of talk down to her, but he doesn't. He's still her underling. And she leaves us shaking her fists into the sky after she's learned that it's the wingless fairy Alina that has caused her downfall, shouting, "I'll get you, Alina, if it's the last thing I do," which is perfection. Will she?
And I'm here for it. I really hope she does. I really hope that they don't just leave that there. I want a third one where we realise Nori and Alina's relationship. Laverna tries to get her own back on Alina and fails miserably and like dies or whatever. And that's what I want. Please, Barbie. Thank you.
I've never felt as much as I live in an alternate universe as I have done for the last hour.
This is a queer movie. How could you not see it?
Well, now obviously you've laid that bare to me. You've shown me me all the signs and all the cues, and I do get it. I'm teasing you a little bit, but yeah. it's not how I read it. But then that's the whole point of having two of us on here, because if we just agreed on everything, it would be pretty fucking boring. Yeah. Because I just really enjoyed it. As I told you before, I'd watched this before you. It's really good, and I really stand by it. I enjoy these questy ones, yeah. But this time, although the quest was stupid and pointless,
arguably pointless, yeah.
Yeah, I liked coming back to these things. I liked Nori as a different sort of female character that we haven't seen. Everyone so far has either been Barbie or an analogue thereof of Barbie, or just been I'm evil or overly nice. Nori's really fucking complicated, right? You know, and whether you do your reading of it or the writer's reading of the story, you know, why she is so bratty, because she's jealous, yeah. And I know that is an old routine thing, but her brattiness, her postmodernness, her change in character, although not unique in cinema, not by any stretch of the imagination, it is unique so far in these films. Yeah. No one has had such a change as her. You know, people have gone through a lot. People have been turned into sexy horses, and people have been turned into
sexy swans
and strange animal hybrids, and gone back in time and forward in time. You know, she's had I really like Nori as a character. I'd have a Nori doll. And well, I wouldn't, but you know what I mean. You know, if I was to have a doll, it would be a Nori doll.
So inclined.
So she's you know,
she's cool.
She's the kind of character I like in any kind of franchise. The one that's just a little bit different to everybody else, and it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but she's unique, and she doesn't. You know, she's not blonde. You know, there's just so much to like about Nori.
They get tattoos. They get matching tattoos. We didn't mention it.
They get matching tattoos. That is true, and which is the gayest thing I've ever seen.
Literally, so good. But they like appear on their arms at the same time in their different colours, and
because they've both beaten the depths. Oh, because
there's a mark of confidence.
There's a legend of anyone who goes down to the depths of despair gets a tattoo. I think, really? Now that comes up? That's a well-known legend. That's like Arthur's sword, Excalibur. Yep. That's that level of legend, is it? Bullshit.
But it's two women who are in love.
However, what I'm trying to say is I really, really fucking enjoyed this movie, and
it's so fucking good.
I'm going to posit I enjoyed it more than Fairytopia.
I thoroughly enjoyed it more than Fairytopia. We'll just briefly mention that she goes back to Fairytopia at the end. She does return to her flowered kingdom. Azura is there for like 2 seconds to be like, welcome back. Bye.
Yeah. And I my crush is Azura. I think Azura is probably my favourite.
She's a cool character.
She's cool. You know, I think if I had to live there, she's the one I'd have a crush on. If I was, you know, like a fairy or a merman or something. But yeah, but she's absolutely fucking useless in both films. She's been absentee landlord, really. She sort of suggested things to people, and not been any fucking help at all, frankly.
Literally, she like opened the narration for this movie and turns up right at the end.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. She's the one who's narrating it, and you think, oh, she may have some part in this, but no, none of the Guardians have, because Mermaidia is the ghettos of Fairytopia, and they don't have their own guardian, and they are second-class citizens, and
it's funny, isn't it?
No one cared about them when when
That's why they
last
had to
time it
go to
happened.
Alina, because she's the only one that's ever made contact with a Mermaidia.
So there is a real Morlocks quality to them. You tie it into queer cinema. I'll tie it into The Time Machine by H.G. Wells.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Morlocks from X-Men, and I was like, X-Men is also a very LGBTQ
But
plus coded.
but of course, the Morlocks from X-Men are named after the Morlocks of the Time Machine. That's why they've got their name, because they live underground.
Oh, nice.
So that's the same way.
Yeah.
Same way Caliban is named after the character from not only from the Tempest, but is meant to be an analogue to the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, there's lots of that. We could do the X-Men films, but yes, very very coded, the X-Men from day one. Yeah. Frankly.
Have you tried not being a mutant? Yeah, love it.
Exactly. But yes, and so we have the similar bit at the end where everyone
fly off. Bibble's recounting the tale to Dandelion, which is cute. It's a cute little ending.
I'm a dickhead. Hero. La 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 la. Yeah, there you go. That's the Bibble version. Yeah, but yeah, I enjoyed this one so much, and you get I thought we were going to have Film 7. It is Film 7, isn't it? Yeah, Film 7 fatigue. I thought we were going to have sequel fatigue. I'd really enjoyed The Magic of Pegasus, surprisingly.
Yeah.
And it's just another fucking great movie. And I love the fact that it still has a fandom. Obviously that you're tapping into, and that people are,
that I'm joining,
and I'm happy
that I'm paying my membership to.
I'm happy for it to be viewed as an LGBT story. That's fine by me.
Thank you, Stephen.
Well, I'm not giving you permission. You know what I mean. You know absolutely what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Cheeky minx. But I just think it works. The fact that there is these other layers that you can read into it actually is what makes it exceptional.
It's so fun. You're right. It Spider-Man 2, Shrek 2's its way into like our hearts. Like, it builds on what was there. It adds what we wanted to see. It does really great stuff.
And it messes. You wanted those other two to be together. And it didn't take you more than 2 minutes to flip-flop on that, yeah?
And I went on such a journey with this movie. It wasn't until the waterfall that I suddenly, like something clicked in my brain. Because before then I was like, boo, boring jealousy trope, boring girl against girl trope in pursuit of a man, boo, boring misunderstanding, feelings trope, like boo, 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 bad, bad, bad. And then they went over that waterfall and I was like, oh, no. They're in love. This is now a whole different movie, and I'm here for it.
So
I want it at 2. I want it at second place. So that's where I want it.
So I'll give you my thoughts and tell you where I want it, okay? And then we'll see where we come to.
We'll fight.
This is easily my favourite story.
Yeah.
This is easily my favourite set of characterisation. I loved what they did with the fungus. I love what they did with Nori. I didn't like a couple of character designs. And I really hated Bibble, apart from the best bit, which you hated. And
I didn't hate it.
I was actually going to put it number 1, but knocked down because of those other 2 things. So I also want it at number 2.
Oh, interesting. See, I literally looked at the leaderboard, which currently Princess and the Pauper is at 1, Swan Lake is at 2, and Fairytopia is at 3. And I was like, it's above Fairytopia, it's above Swan Lake. The only reason it's not above Princess and the Pauper at the moment is because I really think back to watching that for the first time, and it was just hit after hit. It was a musical. It had some great original songs. The character designs were amazing. The plot was interesting. The relationships were fun. I liked the animals. They had credits. They had bloopers. Like, it just as a whole, it felt so tight. And it was like the Fellowship of the Ring of the Barbie movies. It was just one big, good, circular, package.
If this had bloopers, right, and somebody else had drawn at least a fucking snail, this would be number one. I think it's the best story, but I think, as you say, I think Princess and the Pauper just has a better package.
It's just the whole thing, isn't it? It's like, it's got everything.
But I really didn't expect us to be talking about movie number 7.
Neither.
And to be thinking, well, actually,
shooting up the leaderboard in this way.
Especially as a sequel. Now I think there's a couple more, although I'm not sure. I don't think they're direct sequels to this.
Oh, that's a shame.
I think the Mariposa movies are sort of set in the same world.
Okay.
But Mariposa's a character, not a place, as I thought.
Oh yeah, I assumed it was a place. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, again, Alina ends this movie technically, canonically single, which is nice.
Not in the headcanon though, right? Am I right?
Not in the headcanon. Not in the headcanon at all. She's with Nori and Nalu is single. But canonically, like, we have a Barbie finishing a movie not in a relationship, which is always good to see, in terms of, like, you don't need no man. These women especially don't need a man because they are gay.
Actually, that's very interesting though, because we've had, you're right, they've all married princes or at least something like a prince. So I know, again, Prince and the Pauper went somewhere slightly differently, but there was still a royal wedding at the end. The Fairytopia movies though, no.
They are smashing them out the park as well. Like, they are such solid movies. I honestly didn't know what to expect from Fairytopia, and I have just been, my expectations have been exceeded every single time. You're right, we're technically at movie 8 if we include the rockers and the sensations, and it's I never in a million years would have said that movie 8 would be number 2 on the leaderboard. Like, I was fairly certain that The Princess and the Pauper was going to live up to the hype. And I think it's going to be tough to beat Princess and the Pauper. And I think it's going to be tough to beat Mermaidia at this stage, because up next we've got something called The Barbie Diaries, which doesn't fill me with much hope.
No, I don't have a clue about that. And obviously we've got Barbie and the 12 Dancing Princesses, which you're on.
I have seen already.
It's already,
yes.
People in this feed will already have listened to you talk about for a couple of hours, I guess.
Yes, yeah. So I should probably go back and see if my opinions are the same. I worry, and make sure I don't repeat myself too much.
But I know it's a well thought of one.
Yes.
Obviously, which is why someone's picked it.
Yeah.
But I do think after that, I don't see anything changing our top 3. So let's see. There may be surprises ahead.
Yeah, like, we have been so pleasantly surprised. But by the time we got to Swan Lake, we thought we were done, didn't we? We thought, like, that was it, and it was going to be another 30 movies of us being like, ugh.
Yeah, in my head, Swan Lake was the pinnacle.
Yeah.
And I thought, that's as good a kids movie with Barbie dolls you're going to get that's not called Toy Story.
Yeah.
And and it's still at number 3. It's still there, but yeah. And the others, Fairytopia was biting at Swan Lake's heels. Magic of Pegasus is biting at the heels. The things we picked on in those films were margins, small margins.
But it's crazy because at the moment, Princess and the Pauper is at number 1, Mermaidia is at number 2, so Swan Lake has been gone down to number 3, with Fairytopia at 4 and The Magic of Pegasus at 5. So that's our top 5 as it stands.
Yeah, I wonder.
Which I'm happy about. I am upset for The Magic of Pegasus. I think it was very good, but you know what? Top 5 isn't too shabby.
No, yeah, absolutely, and we may reappraise things as we go through. You never know, there may be a couple of changes, but no, I'm happy with that. Maybe what we might do is put them in maybe equal seconds and equal thirds and things like that later on.
Ooh, sneaky.
Because I think I'm really happy. I would happily recommend any of our top 5.
Definitely. Same.
to anyone. Whereas I think Rapunzel, obviously I had a lot of issues with Rapunzel, Nutcracker, both of us, I think, thought it was good, but what the fuck? And obviously Barbie the Rockers, Barbie Sensations is just another thing altogether. It's not.
It's cute. It's fine. It's unfortunate that it's sort of been lumped in. It's not quite fair to pick it in, but who knows? Maybe it's going to hold its ground against.
Maybe the Barbie Diaries.
I don't know, Barbie, a fashion fairy tale or whatever. Like, yeah.
I've got some high hopes for some of them. I'm really looking forward to some of them.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to The Island Princess. We're obviously returning to Fairytopia with the magic of the rainbow in a couple movies' time. A Christmas Carol I have already seen as well. So I'm interested to see what you think of that. And I'm always interested to see how Hans Christian Andersen's Thumbelina is.
Yeah, as I understand it, Thumbelina is where this sort of movie stops.
Well, it's the Three Musketeers after that, so we're back to the literary adaptation, which I've never seen.
But I think it was... I think
pumped
it was...
for an all-female Musketeers.
That would be so cool, because we've had an all-dog one with D'Artagnan and the Three Muskehounds, an all-female one as well. Would just...
One for all and all for one. Muskehounds are always ready.
I can't believe you got that reference.
Helping everybody.
How do you know that? You weren't born when that was on TV. How?
Because it's the greatest thing that's ever been on television. That's how I know it. It's the greatest theme tune to have ever existed. It's the greatest thing.
You literally weren't born.
When did it come out? I used to watch it when we had wet break at primary school. They would stick it on in the dining hall.
Oh, maybe I was a bit older than I want to admit to. No, I thought it was when I was like 14, 15. Like I was probably at secondary school and shouldn't have been watching it. But I'm older than you. You're obviously only 18. I'm 150.
1981, Spanish-Japanese animated television.
So I was 10.
Wow.
I was 10, but that's not when it was on BBC TV.
No, I imagine it would have come a bit later.
Yeah, because we had that, and we had the Cities of Gold, another classic.
Don't know that.
Anyway.
Loved the animation because it had that sort of Japanese animation, and I was a big fan of the 1970s Little Mermaid at that point. But yeah, D'Artagnan and the Three Muskehounds, if you haven't watched it, go and watch the opening on YouTube right now.
But you don't need to,
amazing.
Because Emily sung the song. And
it's so good.
And we'll come back to it when we get to the three.
When we get
Barbie
to the
Musketeers, whatever it's called.
The Three Musketeers was like a content, like a thing that I was always really interested in, as like an aesthetic and as like a vibe. So I watched all the movies available and all the TV shows available, but I never read the book because that looked boring.
And also,
so, yeah,
to
really
read it properly, you'd have to read it in French, wouldn't you?
Yeah, exactly. So I want to see who the Madame de Winter is and like all of these things.
Yeah.
With Tim Curry. So much good Musketeers content.
There is a lot. There is a lot going on, and yeah, we're glad we're doing it. We hope our audience are enjoying it as well. Get in touch and let us know.
Please do.
Especially
if you agree with me.
Yeah, all right.
Nice. So Mermaidia shooting up to number 2 of the leaderboard. So congratulations to Mermaidia.